Fulham ready to pay £30 million for Scott McTominay. Manchester United's risky plan to secure the signing of Manuel Ugarte, and 3 players set to leave the club in the next week. These are some of the stories we will be talking about on today's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 1,000 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6. We're just about to hit 40k subscribers. So if this is your first time watching, make sure you get involved. Everyone is welcome. Right, let's get straight on with all of the news then, shall we? So I want to first off bring you some news on a player who is confirmed to be leaving the club. This is one of the 3 players who's going to be leaving the club in the next week, and it is Will Fish. The news coming out in the last couple of minutes is that Will Fish is set to join Cardiff City on a permanent deal. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't really have too much to say about this, to be honest. I don't think Will Fish was ever going to break into the first team. Some people used to say to me that, I think Will Fish is going to be the next player to break through, but he's not really even young anymore. He's 21. I wish him all the best. I'll be honest, I've barely seen Will Fish play for Manchester United. I've seen him a couple of times in pre-season. I've watched him a couple of times for the under-21s. I don't really have too much to say on it. I don't think he's probably good enough to break into the team. He's certainly not going to get in ahead of De Ligt, Martinez, Lenny Yoro, Lindelof or Maguire, or even Johnny Evans. So I wish him all the best. He's going to Cardiff City. That's a great move for him. Still a top club in the Championship. In relation to the fee, I'm still trying to find out how much the fee is, but I imagine it will be a relatively small amount of money. My guess is less than £1 million. But yeah, as soon as I know what the exact fee is for Will Fish, I will obviously bring you that information. But at the moment, it seems to be it's being reported by everybody, Manchester Evening News, all of the different outlets, saying that apparently Manchester United have agreed the sale of Will Fish to Cardiff City, and the player will apparently move this week. I think he'll probably go for about 500,000 to £1 million. That's my guess, but I might be wrong. Obviously, he's come through the youth academy, so it would be 100% profit. I know it's not life-changing amounts of money, but it's still better than nothing. And as I said, I wish him all the best. Will Fish is set to join Cardiff. So that's the first outgoing that we've had confirmed today. The next deal I want to talk about is Pellistri. So this is another player who looks set to leave the club in the next week. Obviously, we broke you the story this morning that apparently Panathinaikos are on the brink of signing Facundo Pellistri from Manchester United for €10 million. He's got 1 year left on his contract, 23 years of age, clearly surplus to requirements at Manchester United. He's not going to get in ahead of Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, or even Anthony. Whether that's right or wrong, that's a whole conversation for maybe we can talk about now. But the reality of the matter is, Facundo Pellistri is leaving Manchester United and he will be joining Panathinaikos. €10 million is the fee, which I do think is a little bit low, but when you think he's only got a year left on his deal, it is what it is, isn't it? There's not really much we can do about it. The alternative is we keep him for another season, he doesn't play, we pay his wages, and then he leaves for free in 12 months anyway. So although 10 million is a very small amount of money for somebody of his quality, I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world. And part of that deal, Manchester United have included a sell-on clause. So if Pellistri leaves Panathinaikos and moves somewhere else in, say, a couple of years' time, Manchester United would get 50% of that fee. So if he moves for 20 million in 2 years, we'll get 10 million. I'm happy with it. I think it's fair. And I think the most important thing in this situation is what's best for the player. And the best thing for the player is for him to leave and him to try and get first-team football somewhere else, because he's just not going to get it at Manchester United. Now, should he have had opportunities last season? Probably. I think, when you see the situation with Anthony last season, I personally think he should have got some game time, But it's not really up to me, is it? It's up to Erik ten Hag. I trust Erik ten Hag. And I understand why Erik ten Hag played Anthony. He paid €95 million for him. Of course he's going to play him. He has to try and make that transfer look like a sensible one, because at the moment, everybody's scratching their head saying, why the hell did Manchester United buy Anthony? So if Erik ten Hag started playing Pellistri instead, then I think everyone would be a little bit confused about it, wouldn't they? So yeah, should he have had opportunities? Yes. Would I have rather seen him at a Pellistri play over Anthony? Yes, I would. But effectively, I'm not the manager. I trust Erik ten Hag, and Erik ten Hag's decision is to move on Pellistri. I nearly said move on Anthony then. That'd be nice. So yeah, Pellistri looks like he's leaving. 10 million euros. That's another player out of the door. Now, the next one I've got for you is probably the biggest news story of the day, and it is on Scott McTominay, because multiple different people are reporting that apparently Scott McTominay is set to receive an offer from Fulham, or Manchester United will receive an offer from Fulham of £30 million for Scott McTominay. So just to recap your memory, about a week ago, Manchester United rejected a £20 million bid from Fulham for McTominay, 20 million. Fulham said, we're not going to submit another bid, take it or leave it. What do they do? A week later, they come back to the table, willing to now pay 30 million. Obviously, there's multiple clubs interested in McTominay. You've got Napoli, apparently Brighton are interested, Brentford, Everton, Galatasaray, Fenerbahce. There really is a lot of clubs interested in Scott McTominay, and I think they do see it as an opportunity to sign somebody who's played over 200 games for Manchester United for as little as 30 million. And when you think that Oliver Skipp has just joined Leicester City from Tottenham for 25 million, including add-ons, I think 30 million for McTominay is a bargain based on that. Like, if Oliver Skipp is worth 25 million, then McTominay's worth 35, 40 million, easy, you know? If Emile Smith-Rowe is worth 35 million pounds, that's how much he went to Fulham for, then I would say McTominay's worth around that, you know? I get that those two players are younger and maybe had longer contracts at their clubs, but still, like, 20 million for McTominay would have been a joke. It really would. Whereas I think 30 million is a little bit more respectful, and it probably looks like it will go through. McTominay apparently has said that he wants to remain in the Premier League, which I think surprises me a little bit. Like, if I was McTominay and the option to move to Napoli came along, I would jump at that. I mean, that sounds incredible. To go over to Naples, new country, new language, you know, different experience. But, you know, maybe he wants to stay in England. Maybe his family's here. We don't know the situation, do we? So I'm not going to judge him on that. But yeah, £30 million is apparently the fee that Manchester United will be getting from Fulham for Scott McTominay. I'm really happy with it. I think it's great. Paolo says, what's going on with Hannibal Mejbri? In relation to Hannibal Mejbri, he's another player who probably will leave the club in the final weeks of the window. There's a couple of other players as well which look like they're going to leave. But at the moment, the three kind of players who definitely look like they're going to go is Pellistri, Will Fish and McTominay. And then the other ones are Christian Erikson and Hannibal Mejbri. We'll talk about both of them in a minute. Let's start with Hannibal Mejbri. So the latest on Hannibal Mejbri is that apparently he will be leaving in the next week or so, which I think is great. And the clubs currently interested in him are still Rangers and Celtic, but reports this afternoon are suggesting that apparently some Italian clubs and Spanish clubs have expressed interest in Hannibal Mejbri. So there's quite a few people who want Hannibal. Obviously, he's still quite young. I think he still does have a lot of potential. Is he good enough for Manchester United at the moment? I don't think so. Is he good enough to be a bench player for Manchester United? I'm not convinced, to be honest. Again, I think he's another player who came to Manchester United with massive hopes, somebody who we thought was going to turn into like a world-class player, and it just hasn't really worked out. He went out on a couple of loans, didn't really do much there. I remember when he went on loan to Sevilla, and like after like one game, Sevilla were trying to send him back, weren't they? So yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I remember the Sevilla president coming out saying, you know, Hannibal doesn't know how to train properly. He doesn't know this, he doesn't know that. And they were trying to get him sent back to Manchester United, which was crazy. But I guess these things happen in football, you know, if, it just doesn't work in these loan deals. But transfer fee wise, we're looking at around 10 million euros for Pellistri, for Hannibal, which I think is probably fair. We paid 10 million for him 5 seasons ago to Monaco, which is crazy, right? 5 seasons ago, Hannibal Mejbri was a 16-year-old playing for Monaco under 17, and Manchester United thought so highly of him that they signed him for 10 million euros at the age of 16. Fast forward 5 years, he's been here, he's gone off on loan, he was at Birmingham, he was at Sevilla, he's played some games for Manchester United's first team, and now it looks like Man United will move him on for 10 million. So we won't make any money on that transfer, but we will break even. He has only got 1 year left on his contract as well. So it's another player where Manchester United have this tough decision where either they keep him, they let him run down his deal, or they sell him, they cash in, and they get their money back. And for me personally, I see 0 point in keeping Hannibal on the bench for another season. Like, it makes no sense to me. You know, you may as well let him go. So yeah, it looks like Hannibal will be leaving as well. And you know what? I wish all of these people the best. Will Fish, Pellistri, Hannibal. There's no hard feelings. I think most of them, you know, obviously probably expected their Manchester United careers to go a little bit better than they have. They probably expected more game time, and it hasn't happened for them. So yeah, I wish them all the best. Hannibal, Pellistri, Will Fish, obviously McTominay if he goes. There's no hard feelings there. Yeah, so I'll keep you updated on those as and when we get more news. We've got over 1,000 people watching the video live now, which is amazing. If everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like, we've only got 140 likes so far. So if everyone who's watching the video now likes it, we will hit our likes target. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I've just dropped a link into the chat to subscribe. We're live every day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6. On the road to 40k subscribers. Go and get involved. Everyone is welcome. Right. Daz says, I've just joined. Is Pellistri gone? Pellistri is literally on the brink of leaving, mate. It's not been confirmed yet, but Fabrizio has come out saying that a deal to Greece is, you know, is very, very close at this stage. So yeah, it's not done yet, but it will be done very, very soon. Okay, let's move on to Manuel Ugarte then, shall we? Because there's some pretty crazy news coming out about Manuel Ugarte in the last hour or so. And apparently Manchester United are playing the waiting game for Manuel Ugarte. This is what's being reported by Sky Sports, reported by other people as well, that apparently United are willing to wait until transfer deadline day to submit their official bid for Manuel Ugarte. Effectively, what United are trying to do is bring down the price as much as possible. And they think that the longer they leave it, the more desperate PSG will get. And there are some stories coming out as well from reliable people saying that Manchester United don't actually need to sell anybody to buy Manuel Ugarte, and that they're only doing it because they want to bring the price down. And I said this about a month ago. I said I don't understand how Manchester United need to sell to buy. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know, we're the richest club, or one of the richest clubs in the world, up there with Real Madrid. And so far this summer, we've only spent about £80 million net. Which isn't very much for Manchester United. You know, if you look at last season, for example, right? Let's have a look at last season's net spend. So this season, our net spend is only, as I said, £80 million, which honestly is not very much in the grand scheme of things. Whereas last season, our net spend was £150 million. So we've spent about 70 million less at this point than we did last season. And the Champions League money is only about 40 million, and we're still in the Europa League, and we won the FA Cup. So, you know, people who say, oh, we got knocked out, we're not in the Champions League, that's why we can't spend as much, blah, blah, blah. Like, you get money for being in the Europa League as well. Let me have a look. How much do you get for being in the Europa League? I think it's about 10 million. So football clubs get... so if you're in the Europa League, you get 3.6 million, right? How much do you get for being in the Champions League? I think it's about 40 million. So obviously it is a lot more, but it's still like... Oh, so it's not even very much. So if you get into the Champions League... Yeah, I mean, you literally, it's not even very much more than the Europa League. Obviously, you get more per game and if you win a game and all the rest of it. But the point I'm trying to make here is Manchester United haven't actually spent that much this summer net because we've let quite a few people go. Obviously, we let Greenwood go. We let Willy Campoala go. We've let, obviously, Donny van de Beek go. It looks like Pellistri's going to go. McTominay's going to go. Like, before we know it, right, our net spend for this summer could be pretty much like nothing. Genuinely, because if you look at the players that are going to leave in the next couple of weeks, right? McTominay, 40 million euros, right? Hannibal, 10 million, and Pellistri, 10 million. So that would be a total of 60 million euros in the next week or so, which would then take our net spend down to only 30 million euros for this summer. So if in the next couple of days we see Pellistri, Hannibal, and McTominay go, our net spend would only be 10 million. For this, 30 million euros for this summer so far. So all these people are like, oh, we need to sell to buy. We need to sell to buy. Like, I don't think we actually need to sell to buy. I think Manchester United want to sell to buy. They want to get rid of the bigger earners. They want to get rid of people surplus to requirements. And it makes sense, you know, like it makes sense to get rid of the players you don't want before you go and spend money, because otherwise you spend money and then all the clubs are looking at you thinking, we know that they're desperate. We know they need to sell. Let's offer them stupid money to try and get their players, or, you know, and I think that that's effectively what Manchester United have done. Yeah, so we've been quite clever, I think. It's been good, clever business. And yeah, I think doing it this way makes a lot more sense in the long run. So yeah, I'm happy about that. Obviously, it's risky, hence the video title. It is a risky plan because we might get to transfer deadline day and PSG might just keep saying 60 million, 60 million, 60 million. And then what do we do then? You know, if we end up getting Manuel Ugarte for like 30, 40 million, that would be incredible business. But if we get that far into the window and then we still pay 60 million, I think a lot of people are going to be asking questions. A lot of people are going to be saying, why did we wait all summer and still pay the asking price? Now, I'm 99.9% sure that Ineos won't pay 60 million euros for Manuel Ugarte. I would be honestly stunned if they did. It would make no sense. But yeah, we'll wait and see. You never know what can happen in football, you know? But yeah, I'll obviously keep you updated on that one as and when we get more news on Manuel Ugarte. But the headline is that apparently Manchester United are willing to wait until transfer deadline day to make an official move for Manuel Ugarte. So yeah, that's that one. Moving on from that, we've got some news on Christian Erikson for you. Apparently, Ajax are in talks with Manchester United over a permanent sale of Christian Erikson. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it? If we could move on Erikson. He's on big wages, 150k per week. He has 1 year left of his deal, just like Pellistri, just like Hannibal, just like McTominay. Erikson's not going to get a new contract to Manchester United. I think he's 32. Yeah. He's 32. He's a player that needs to leave this summer. You know, I would much rather the spaces on the bench be filled by people like Toby Collier than Christian Erikson. You know, we've got Mason Mount, we've got Bruno, we've got Kobe Mainoo. We have three players there who are attacking-minded midfielders, right? Obviously, Mainoo can do the defensive work as well, but those three people are more attacking-minded, creative, whatever you want to call it. We don't need Erikson anymore. Like, we just simply don't. I know, obviously, it's a squad game. What happens if we get injured? All the rest of it. But, yeah, for me personally, Erikson has to move on. And, yeah, Ajax apparently in talks with Manchester United over a permanent deal for Christian Erikson. Transfer fee-wise, we're talking only around 5 million euros. It's not going to be a big amount of money. But, obviously, we got Christian Erikson for free from Brentford. So even if we sell him for 5 million euros, that will be 100% profit. And if you add up all of the deals that I've just gone through there, right? 40 million euros for McTominay, 5 million for Erikson, 10 million for Pellistri, 10 million for Hannibal. That's 55 million euros there from four players. And I think we can all agree that all four of those players probably need to be moved on. Sorry, 65 million euros. Yeah, 40 McTominay euros, 10 Hannibal, 10 Pellistri, and 5 Erikson. Yeah, 65 million euros there. That goes and gets you Manuel Ugarte. So, yeah, overall, I'm very, very happy about that. Big ups to Fred, who's just gifted 5 memberships to the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. If you have been gifted a membership by Fred, make sure you say thank you to him in the chat. So, yeah, go and do that now. Yes. Greo says, if I'm lucky to win the shirt when you do the giveaway, can I please have the 1997 away kit? Mate, you can have whatever shirt you want, but you got to win first. So for anybody who's wondering what that comment was about, when we hit 40,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away 2 of the new Manchester United shirts. You can have any name on the back, any number, whatever you want. I will be doing that. We did the same at 30k. I'll be doing it again at 40k, at 50k, etc. I'll do it at every big milestone. So make sure you go and get involved. Go and subscribe. Completely free content. Everyone is welcome. So that's the latest on Christian Erikson. The final bit of outgoings I've got for you is on Victor Lindelof. Apparently, Victor Lindelof is injured, which is, I'm going to say, unfortunate timing. Very unfortunate timing. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He was a player that Manchester United were actively trying to sell in the final weeks of the window. But obviously, with him being injured, it makes it near enough impossible for us to sell. It makes it near enough impossible for us to sell Christian Erikson, not Erikson, Lindelof. Yeah, really, really frustrating, to be honest. But there's not really too much we can do about it. I mean, if he's injured, he's injured. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. You can't... a player can't usually pass their medical if they're injured. So, yeah, it's pretty frustrating, to be honest. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, what can we do? I mean, there is nothing we can do, is there? Oh, it is just annoying, isn't it? And it seems to happen every single year with players. There'll be an injury, and the next thing you know, they can't leave, and then we're stuck with them. I don't really know what the solution is here. I think realistically, Lindelof will probably stay until his contract expires next year, and then he'll leave for free. It is annoying because I would really, really like to get that money for Lindelof. You know, if we could get 10 to 15 million for Lindelof, that could have gone a long way this window. But it's one of those where all we can do is work with what we've got, and we can get rid of McTominay, we can get rid of Hannibal, Pellistri, like all of those people. But if someone's injured, you can't sell them. It's impossible. Now, maybe he makes a miraculous recovery before transfer deadline day. That's a possibility. But the general consensus at the moment is that Lindelof probably will be staying until next summer. Yeah, there's nothing we can really do. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. People are saying that he's faking the injury. I don't know if he's faking the injury. I think that's a little bit harsh, maybe. Some people in the chat are saying that IAnton is going to come to Manchester United. I would love IAnton at Manchester United. I don't think he's going to come to Manchester United, though. And I've not seen anything from Fabrizio saying that IAnton is going to come to Manchester United. So I don't know where you've got that from. But yeah, I would really, really like IAnton. I don't think he'll come, though, personally. It looks like IAnton is going to go to the Saudi League. So I don't really know how Manchester United would, come and hijack that deal at this point. The Saudis are going to pay him crazy amounts of money. Brentford still apparently want 50 to 60 million. I would really, really like to bring him in. But in hindsight, it seems like he's going to go to the Saudi League, which I think is disappointing. I think, he could still play at the top level. He could still play for a good Premier League team. But yeah, he's obviously deciding to go to Saudi, which is fine. That's up to him, Everybody, effectively, if he goes to Saudi, he's sorted for the rest of his life, isn't he? Financially, he'll never have a problem in his whole life ever again. I mean, arguably at Manchester United, you wouldn't have a problem either. But, Saudi Arabian money is like generational wealth, isn't it? His kids will be sorted. So, yeah. Little bit of a shame. I would have liked to see IAnton at Manchester United. I thought he would have been a good option as kind of a third striker. But I just don't see how we can outpay the Saudis when we're supposedly struggling for money as it is. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section about that one. Would you like to see Manchester United go for IAnton? Let me know below. Okay, let's see what else people are saying in the comment section. 1 second. Right, let's move on to... Who should we talk about now? Right, let me have a look in my chat, see what people are saying. Somebody's saying about Oliver Skipp going to Leicester. Yeah, I don't understand how Tottenham have got 25 million for Oliver Skipp. It makes no sense to me. It's just a classic one, isn't it? Where when it's Man United, teams think that they can get our better players for like no money, right? But when it's a team like Tottenham, they somehow manage to pull off 25 million for Oliver Skipp. Like, in what world? People are asking about Jadon Sancho. The situation with Jadon Sancho remains the same, right? He's somebody that Manchester United want to move on. But at the moment, the interest around him has gone quite quiet. He's back in training now. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe Chelsea come back in for him. Maybe PSG come back in for him. I have this nasty feeling that Jadon Sancho is going to stay. This time next year, he'll have 1 year left on his contract. And I just think Jadon Sancho might just run down his contract and leave for free in 2 years. Because the crazy thing with Sancho is, right, I think he's still only 24. So in 2 years' time, he will be a free agent at the age of 26 and can move wherever he wants for free. I don't know, I just feel like he has that persona about him where he'd probably happily just kind of stay in and around the team for the next couple of years, and then leave for free. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. But obviously, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, Manchester United managed to pull that one off. But at the moment, I personally think Jadon Sancho, is probably going to stay here. You never know, though, in football, do you? If someone might get injured, maybe, one of the Chelsea players gets injured. Maybe someone at PSG gets injured and they say, we need a player. And they come in for him. But at the moment, it looks like Jadon Sancho is staying here. There doesn't seem to be any, serious interest in him other than those talks from PSG and the talks from Chelsea. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Right, what else did I have planned? Let's have a look. I think we're coming towards the end of the show, guys. I don't want to, go over old news over and over again. So I tried to keep it fresh. I tried to keep it exciting. Somebody says, do you think Sancho's issues is affecting Rashford on the pitch as they're friends? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't. I mean, that's just purely speculation. But, imagine if you worked somewhere with your best friend and your best friend fell out with like the management and stuff. I think it probably would affect you. It all depends on people's personality. And obviously, I don't know Jadon Sancho personally. I only see and hear what everyone else does. And Sancho and Rashford are obviously very good friends. Sancho and Rashford, clearly seem to have been affected by, the experience with the manager. So yeah, I'm sure it has had some effect on them. Macmillan says, McTominay only thrived at United when it's chaotic, and when he was playing, it was chaotic. Hence why he came on against Fulham when it was chaotic. He can't play in a settled side. 100%, mate. I 100% agree with you. McTominay, in the last 5 minutes of a game, when you need to get a goal, great, chuck him up front, and he will get you a goal, probably. But for the rest of the 85 minutes of the game, he's not worth having anywhere near the pitch, in my opinion. He doesn't offer us anything. He's not a player that can offer you a balanced style of football. He's great to bring on in the last 5 minutes when you're trying to get a goal. Great, amazing. But otherwise, I just think he's very limited. But yeah, that's my take on that. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you very much for watching today. I will be back live at 8:30. If anything breaks between now and then, I will go live. Make sure to hit the like button before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Bye for now.